Hello everyone. So continuing the series of videos which I'm making on prelims, right? So I will now in this particular video share the notes for security. So what we will do is we'll discuss certain aspects. First of all, we'll discuss the most important parts of these notes, right? And then we'll move on to those areas which are less important, not important, but less important. First of all, let's focus on the areas which are very important, right? So yes, so NSA 1980. So that is National Security Act 1980, right? So now what it is happening is it is a law for preventive detention, right? Protection for preventive detention has been provided in Article 22 of the Constitution. So in your prelims, they can ask you Article 22 deals with what, right? So you need to understand that there are certain, and it's not only dealing with preventive detention, there are certain other provisions also in Article 22, but yes, majorly dealing with preventive detention. Now, what was the provision of NSA 1980? That maximum of 1 year in prison you can go through an executive order without even trial or bail, right? So maximum, there are other provisions also who can guarantee it, and like if you want to go beyond 1 year, then what permission you need to take. But again, we don't, because we're talking about prelims, so we will not go that much into detail. We'll also talk about this when we are talking about security notes for mains, right, which is in GS3. Right. So right now you just need to understand that NSA National Security Act, you can go for maximum 1 year in prison, even without any judicial scrutiny or something like that, just via an executive order. Right. So that is NSA National Security Act 1980, right? It talks about preventive detention. Protection for preventive detention has been provided in Article 22. Now, UN Convention Against Torture. So what you need to understand is this was passed in 1984, UN Convention Against Torture. India had signed this UN Convention Against Torture in 1997, but it has not ratified it. So that means India does not follow the provisions given in UN Convention Against Torture, right? So that means India has not ratified it, but India has signed it. So I have talked about what is signing, what is the difference between signing and ratification in detail again in the second ARC videos. You can go there and you can look at it. Right, ratification means you need an approval. First of all, what happens? Suppose any convention is being passed. So India, for formal approval, India signed it. But ratification means it has to be approved by the parliament of that particular country. So India's parliament did not ratify it. So that means it is not a law, or we don't accept all the convention, or what do you say? We don't accept all the provisions of UN Convention Against Torture. Now, Official Secrets Act, Secrets Act 1923, right? You can say that it lies on the opposite spectrum. Just a second. You can just say that this OSA 1923, it lies on the opposite spectrum of RTI. If RTI is here, OSA is here. People do believe that. So what happens? Official Secrets Act gives the power to these officials to withhold certain informations, to withhold certain information which they don't want to share with the public, right? But there is a section 22 of RTI Act which expressively says that it overrides the OSA in certain scenarios. Even Justice Goswami Committee of 1970s has talked that OSA has no place in a democracy like ours. We'll talk about OSA in detail when we talk about means notes. Now, again, these things we'll talk later on. Joint military exercises, very important. Very important. So first of all, Yudh Abhyas. Yudh Abhyas happens between India and US, right? It happens between India and US Army. So there are trilateral exercises where all three forces are involved. Like Yudh Abhyas is Indo-US, Army are involved here. If I ask about when the Air Force of India and US are involved, what is that military exercise called? Or what is that what do you say? Air Force exercise called? That is called XCOP India, right? And when the naval exercise are involved, it is called Malabar, which Japan also takes part in it. Malabar, right? Now, let's see if we see the pictures of these, what do you say, events. These things will be much more clearer in our mind. So see, this is Yudh Abhyas. So these people, this is a Yudh Abhyas scenario. Hope you can see it, right? So this is Yudh Abhyas. Yudh Abhyas exercise is going on, and cool. Now this is Yudh Abhyas. Now again, Yudh Abhyas is India-US military endeavor or military exercise. Now if Air Force is involved, it is called XCOP India. So in a what do you say, second, we'll be seeing XCOP India. So this, when Air Force are involved, this is XCOP India. When India, US Air Force are involved, this is exercise is called XCOP India. Now, what happens if your Navy is involved? So Navy is a very famous exercise. We all know it. It is called Malabar exercise, in which even Japan participates. Australia also wants to, but India has not allowed it yet, right? So India, US, Japan, and India. So India, US. Similarly, we'll also talk about Russia. So suppose we have talked about here. Just a second. Just a second. Cool. So suppose we want to talk about here Russia. What about Russia? What are the military exercises of Russia called? So Indra is the name. Russia military exercises are carried out under the name of Indra. This is called parallel study. If you're talking about US, let's talk about Russia also. So India, Russia military exercises are called Indra. Right. Now, if you want to see it where I have written it, I will show it to you. Just a second. So yes. So you can see here, XCOP India we have just talked about. That India-US Air Force joint drill is called XCOP India. And Aviendra exercise is India-Russia Air Force exercise. If India-Russia Air Force exercise are involved, or India and Russia's Air Force are involved, the exercise is called Aviendra. Aviendra. See, Indra is there, and then they have added the word Aviendra. AVA. That is for aviation. That is a short form for aviation. So Indra exercise is the combined name. Even for India-US military, it is Indra. Even for India-Russia military, it is Indra. India-Russia naval, it is Indra. And for India-US military, what it is for Air Force, it is XCOP India. And for military, it is Yudh Abhyas. And for naval, it is Malabar. Cool. Now let's go back to that particular slide, or that particular topic which we're doing. Just a sec. So we have talked about USA and we have talked about Russia. Don't forget about it because we have done the parallel study. Now, Lamitye is for India and Seychelles Public Defense Forces. So India and Seychelles Army, joint military exercise called Lamitye. And if you want to see it, we can see it as well. So this is Aviendra, India and Russia exercise, which we just talked. We will also see the India-Russia army pictures. So again, these are the scenarios. And Indra is even the name of the naval exercise between India and Russia. Even the name between India and Russia military or army exercise is called Indra. Now, Lamitye, which is between India and Seychelles. So again, whenever you're seeing these military exercises now, when you're reading about these military exercises, try to see the photos. That will help you because otherwise it's become very difficult. So are you seeing this man? What do you say? Holding this guy upside down. So this is India Seychelles Lamitye, India Seychelles exercise, which is called Lamitye. India, and keep on saying it again and again. India Seychelles Lamitye. Now let's move on. Okay. So Lamitye is India and Seychelles. Nomadic elephant is India, Mongolia. So you can nomadic elephant India, Mongolia. In Mongolia earlier, nomads used to live, right? Mongols were no one but nomads, right? They used to move from here and there. So in Mongolia earlier, nomads used to live. So that's why the exercise is called nomadic elephant. India, Mongolia, nomads used to live. So that's why the exercise is called nomadic elephant. If again, let's see how these people, like how these exercises are being carried out, whether we have any pictures for it or not. So as you can see, this is one of the pics of India, Mongolia nomadic elephant. So you now know the trick how to remember it. Since in Mongolia, nomads used to live earlier. Mongols was one of the largest nomadic tribes, right? So that's why the name is nomadic elephant. Cool. Now let's again go back and let's see our notes. So nomadic elephant is for India, Mongolia, and Math3 is for India, Thailand. So these are very important. Math3 is for India, Thailand. Again, so this is nomadic. Let's see. And you people can also tell me Surikaran. We'll just see Surikaran exercise also. So that way, what we are doing is we're trying to see this is Math3 between India and Thailand. So this is a joint exercise between India and Thailand, which is called Math3. Cool, dude. Now, we have seen all these exercises, right? So now let's see one more exercise and military exercise, because when we're doing military exercises, let's do all at once. So Surikaran is another exercise which happens between India and Nepal. Surikaran is a military exercise which happens between India and Nepal. So don't forget these exercises. These are very important exercises, and there's a very high probability of these exercises coming. Right? So Surikaran is an exercise which happens between India and Nepal. So these people are, and we are very close to Nepal. We have a 1950 friendship treaty, right? So that's why we do lots of things with Nepal, which we generally don't do with other countries. Nepal and Bhutan are very dear to us. So this is Surikaran. Do no need of remembering whether it was 18th exercise or 19th exercise or 100th exercise, but we do need to remember what are these names called, or what are these, like if Surikaran is there, which countries are involved in it, right? So we have done this. Now let's see some more important portions. We'll discuss whatever I'm leaving right now. We'll discuss it later on. Not very important. See, understand one thing. If you talk about adultery or homosexuality in army, na, it is not accepted in Indian army. It is not acceptable in Indian army. General Rawat said it. And if you want to know more about homosexuality in military service, so homosexuality in military service is legal in 175 countries, but it is illegal in 20, including India. And the condition is still the same. Now let's talk about one more thing, and then we will wrap for military exercise. We'll talk other stuffs later on. So cast is called continuous at sea deterrence. So all the ships and all those things which perform, like naval ships and all those things which acts as a deterrence at sea. So they come under the part of cast, which is called continuous at sea deterrence. INS Arihant is a part of it, which is an SSBN. SSBN is nuclear powered ballistic missile submarine, or it is called SIP submersible ballistic nuclear. SIPs submersible ballistic nuclear. Ballistic nuclear. What does it mean is, earlier the types of submarine we used to have, it has to come above the water surface to take oxygen for certain period of time and then go inside. But now in INS Arihant, since it is nuclear powered, it doesn't need to come up the water surface, up above the water surface for extracting oxygen. Right? So it can live inside water for multiple number of days. So that's why it is nuclear powered. And why it is happening? Because it is nuclear powered ballistic missile submarine, SSBN. Now these are important. Why? Because in I think in 2018, because in 2018 UPSC has asked a question, or I think 2016 we have to see. I think 2016. In 2016, UPSC has asked a question something similar. Like, see, INS Astradharini. They have asked this in UPSC 2016. So what is INS Astradharini? Astra means weapons. Astra means weapons. So INS Astradharini is what? It is a torpedo launch and recovery vessel. If you want to see it, you can also see it. So INS Arihant, we have talked about that it is an SSBN, that is submersible ballistic nuclear, right? This is INS Arihant. Now, if you want to talk about, this is INS Arihant, right? Now, if we want to talk about INS Astradharini, just a second, it will be getting loaded. Remember, Astra means weapons. Astradharini is a torpedo launch and recovery vessel. So these images which you are seeing, so these kind of images, or this is an INS Astradharini, right? Okay, so what we will do is we'll keep until here only for this particular session of security, and in the next video we'll continue to see what are the areas which are important. And again, if you want to, if you want these notes, you can just send me a message. I will share the WhatsApp message in the description. Also, if you want to have a one-to-one online session with me, where you have doubts, where you want to talk about life, or you want to talk about anything, like how to go about things and all those things, you can do that. Fine. So thank you.